Hello everyone. In this video, I'll be translating and summarizing the latest Urdu broadcast by Shahbaz Gill to make it accessible for our English-speaking audience. Let's go through the key developments and insights in Shahbaz Gill's words. The most important news today starts with the situation in Washington, D.C., where a grand military parade is taking place. Field Marshal Asim Munir is arriving in Washington, D.C. to attend this parade. The event is part of the United States bicentennial celebrations. Naturally, President Trump wants to showcase America's military might to the world. For this purpose, tanks, artillery, and other specialized weapons have been transported to Washington, D.C. over the past several days and will be displayed during the parade. This is a show of strength, displaying America's military power to the entire world. Field Marshal Asim Munir is attending ostensibly as a military officer, now in fact a field marshal, to witness the military parade of a foreign country. There shouldn't be anything unusual about this, as the US invites military generals from countries with whom they have good relations. Similarly, when Pakistan holds military parades, military officers from friendly nations also participate. But the matter doesn't end there. The Pakistani embassy in Washington, D.C. and the lobbyists hired by Mr. Chaudhry, referring to a government official or diplomat, are trying to create space and opportunities for Field Marshal Munir. Millions of rupees from the Pakistani nation's treasury are being spent monthly on lobbyists in D.C. These people are now trying hard to secure meetings for Field Marshal Munir, for example, with Tulsi Gabbard, and of course, meetings with military generals will likely happen, but the real push is for meetings with figures like Marco Rubio or even people from the CIA. According to the latest information, no meetings have been finalized yet, but there's a strong possibility he might succeed in meeting Marco Rubio. Efforts are also being made for a meeting or at least a photo opportunity with President Trump, though that seems unlikely. Still, a photo with someone like Rubio or another prominent figure may happen, because the lobbyists and embassy staff are trying very hard to make it so. If nothing substantial comes out of the trip, they at least want some photos to take back home to amplify Field Marshal Munir's image and prestige among the Pakistani public. You've already seen how the four-day skirmish, not even a war, with India was spun into a consolidation of power. Our Air Force acted, and in the aftermath, the military structure was further cemented. The title of Field Marshal was also adopted, and everything was consolidated. That narrative is still being reinforced. The next story is about what else is being done. Another Corps commander has visited a university. In another region, under a different approach, that too will be discussed. But first, let's wrap up the Washington, D.C. issue. So on one hand, Field Marshal Munir is attending the parade, while his aides and embassy officials are striving to arrange meetings for him. On the other hand, the rank and file of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf and many others are calling for a strong protest. Statements from Barrister Gohar and Salman Akram Raja have surfaced, both saying that whatever is happening in America is not coordinated with them, and no decision has been made on it within Pakistan. They are distancing themselves, likely out of necessity, because if they were to support the protest, everyone knows the consequences they'd face back in Pakistan. Still, PTI supporters in the United States had already announced protests, which are going ahead regardless. I told you this last time as well. Previously, some individuals inside and outside the movement tried to sabotage the protest by working with a major general in the embassy. But this time, social media is intensely vigilant. The scrutiny is so sharp that no ambitious conspirator will succeed in undermining the event. A protest is scheduled in front of Pakistan's embassy in Washington, D.C. on Saturday, June 14th. This much is confirmed. Additionally, digital trucks have been ordered for the visit. I can confirm this. These are trucks with large screens displaying photos of Asim Munir and others, along with messages highlighting what's happening in Pakistan, the atrocities of November 26th, the rigged election of February 8th, and the oppression of Imran Khan. These trucks will roam around D.C., displaying these visuals as a form of expression and awareness. A very patriotic and respectable Pakistani based in Washington, D.C. organizes this every time. I won't mention his name unless he permits it, but he's known for consistently arranging such displays. This time, instead of just one or two trucks, several digital trucks will be out and about. Inside Pakistan, the FCNA commander, equivalent to a corps commander leading operations in Gilgit-Baltistan, recently visited Karakoram University. There he met with male and female students and, like other corps commanders visiting universities, tried to build a narrative around the recent skirmish with India. They're trying to extract maximum benefit and political mileage from that four-day clash. So even Gilgit-Baltistan and Kashmir haven't been left out of this campaign. Now let's look at the budget. 9 crore rupees, that's 90 million rupees, have been allocated for new vehicles for the Prime Minister's house. 4 crore rupees, or 40 million, for the gardens there, supposedly to plant new trees, even though the gardens are already in good condition. 1.5 crore rupees, that's 15 million, for a medical dispensary, apparently because the Prime Minister's health is a concern. And a whopping 22 crore rupees, or 220 million, for the Prime Minister's discretionary fund, to hand out cash tips or favours as he pleases. Yes, 22 crore rupees of public money are now at the disposal of Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif to tip whoever he wishes. 10,000 rupees here, 20,000 there, 50,000 elsewhere. Essentially, cash handouts from the public's pocket. So, while you may also give tips now and then, imagine giving out tips worth 220 million rupees over 1 year. That's the privilege and power they're enjoying, with your money. On the other hand, the cases regarding the suspension of the sentences of Imran Khan and Bushra Bibi, you may recall that before Eid it was announced they would be heard right after Eid, were indeed scheduled in the division bench after Eid. However, instead of being heard, Justice Mohammed Asif has gone on leave. Now, pay attention to how formally and officially this was conveyed. A simple notice was posted outside the courtroom, which we're showing you. This was the only communication. When the lawyers and several MNAs and MPAs reached the court today to attend the hearing, they were suddenly informed that Justice Mohammed Asif is not present as he has taken leave. Therefore, Imran Khan's cases are postponed for today. It is expected they may be rescheduled around the 13th or 14th, though the exact date is not confirmed yet, and the judge might return by then. We'll have to wait and see when they are placed back on the cause list. Meanwhile, Imran Khan's sister, Miss Noreen Khan, who has been visiting him in jail, revealed that even his fan has been turned off. There is no air conditioning to begin with, but now even the fan has been shut down. You should also keep in mind that Pakistan's meteorological department, via Mr. Mohammed Hanif, has reported that the temperature in Sargodha has reached 50 degrees Celsius, which is 122 degrees Fahrenheit. Yes, 50 degrees Celsius has been recorded in Sargodha. An intense heat is expected in the entire Sargodha-Kushab region. Now you can imagine how hot it must be in Adiala jail. If it's 50 degrees outside, it must be at least 46 to 47 degrees inside. And in such conditions, Imran Khan's fan is also off. It's already a furnace, but now they've turned it into an unbearable oven. And all of this just so that Imran Khan cannot speak to anyone. This is the kind of cruelty being inflicted inside. And outside? Well, even those who raise their voices in support of him are not allowed to breathe freely. Take the case of Maulana Tariq Jamil, for example. He was forced to tweet that his speech wasn't stopped by the state. He did not say that it wasn't stopped by the generals, only that it wasn't stopped by the state. He added that the matter was an internal issue of the Tablighi Jamaat, and requested vloggers and social media influencers not to report it, not to discuss it, and to keep it hidden. Now, let's consider. When 27 vehicles were deployed, ditches were dug, and bridges were broken to block Maulana Tariq Jamil from speaking, as per Irshad Bhati's report, was that really the work of the Tablighi Jamaat? Of course not. That was the work of the generals, but clearly they pressured him into tweeting to clear their name, because they want to commit all the dirty deeds without ever admitting to them. If someone points out their misdeeds, they then force that very person to issue a denial. They love doing wrong, but hate being told they're doing wrong. Now, a very disturbing video has surfaced. The man's name is Mohammed Bilal, the principal of Army Public School and College, Multan. He claims he is married to the sister of Captain retired, Usman, a former commissioner of Lahore and reportedly very close to General Bajwa. Captain Usman, after retiring from the army, joined the bureaucracy. Bilal says the police abducted him and told him to divorce Captain Usman's sister. If he refused, he would be implicated in the May 9th cases. Here's his statement. "My name is Mohammed Bilal. I'm the principal of Army Public School and College in Multan. On Tuesday at 2 p.m, I was returning home after finishing work when I was forcibly picked up by two officers from Kant police station on a motorbike. They took me near Mehtab Alam Chowk and threatened me under MPO laws, claiming I had ties to PTI protests, which I do not. I'm an educator and have always worked in the field of education. They pressured me to divorce my wife. They said, either divorce your wife or we'll detain you for a month. Why do they want me to divorce? Because her brother, Captain Usman, is exerting pressure. He was Commissioner Lahore and is now likely no longer in any post, but clearly influencing the authorities. The Kant police told me, you have two options, divorce or detention. I don't want to divorce my wife." Now think for a moment. Obviously, there must be some family conflict. And because Captain Usman is well connected in the bureaucracy, he used his influence to pressure the police, who then harassed Bilal and told him to divorce his wife or face charges under the May 9th cases. You've heard claims that 13,000 to 34,000 people were arrested and charged under these cases. Imagine how many others may have been similarly trapped in fabricated cases and coerced. Some extorted for money, others for divorce or personal vendettas. Now for another revealing angle. Jang, Geo and the News are part of the same media group. Within this group, there's an investigative journalism unit headed by Ansar Abbasi. When PMLN, PPP or even PTI were in power, they used to publish a new investigative story every week. Stories by Umar Chima, Wasim Abbasi and others. Rauf Khlasra also contributed in the past. Each week, they would expose some scandal, wheat fraud, school embezzlement, Ehsas program corruption, Ramadan package misuse, under the banner of investigative journalism. But notice this, in the last 3 years, they haven't published a single such story. Why? Because for the past 3 years, first under Shahbaz Sharif's government and now under military control, these investigative journalists have suddenly gone silent. This proves they were always tools of the military generals, even though they posed as anti-military or pro-democracy voices. While generals weren't openly in power, these journalists were used to discredit democratic politicians. Now that generals themselves are directly running the government, no one is allowed to investigate or expose corruption, because the generals are likely involved themselves. So the once active investigative journalism unit is now completely inactive, because they're not permitted to investigate the powerful. But as soon as any civilian government comes to power again, even a semi-democratic one, these same journalists will resume investigative journalism and flood us with exposés. Meanwhile, the situation in the United States is also heating up. See, protesters are blocking routes, confrontations have escalated, and now President Trump's forces are actively arresting illegal immigrants. In Los Angeles, the tension between protesters and security forces is growing. Trump has deployed the National Guard, but California's state government tried to block the move through the courts. However, the courts refused. So now clashes seem imminent. Cars have been torched, looting has occurred, and well, this developing story remains volatile. We'll continue monitoring it and share further updates with you as they emerge. That wraps up our translation of Shahbaz Gill's video. I hope this English version helped you understand his message better. Please like, share, and subscribe to Awami Lens to help our community grow. And don't forget to leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of this effort.